Hollywood Movie Spot, presenting The Silence of the Lambs. This story is based on Psycho Killer. The story begins with a beautiful morning where a girl named Clarice Starling is on FBI training. Just then Clarice is called by his boss. He tells her about a case. This case is very dangerous because there is a criminal in it who kills anyone very mercilessly. His name is Dr. Lecter. He doesn't want to talk to FBI. That's why Clarice's boss says if you meet then he might be ready to talk to you and tell us about the case we want to know. And her boss gives Dr. Lecter case file and his personal details to Clarice. Clarice arrives the next day where she finds a doctor and takes her inside. But Clarice says that she wants to meet the criminal in private because she knows that Lecter does not like the doctor and does not want to tell anyone. That's why she wants to go inside alone. Before going inside, the guard says, "Don't panic, I'll keep an eye on you through the CCTV camera," and Clarice goes inside. When she goes in, there are other criminals also there, and they misbehave with Clarice, but Clarice ignores them and she reaches to Dr. Lecter's cell. Doctor wishes her good morning and then he asks Clarice for her ID, and Clarice shows him her ID. After seeing her ID, he says, "Your ID will expire within 7 days. That means you are not a real agent of FBI." Clarice tells that she has come for training in FBI and she is here to learn something from Dr. Lecter. Doctor is very sharp-minded. He knows what is happening around him. He knows that Clarice has come to extract information from him, but he doesn't want to tell anything about himself. That's why he insults Clarice too. She starts leaving from there. Then the criminal in the other cell misbehaves with Clarice, and she gets scared. Doctor calls and says first find out about Moffat, who was once his patient, and he also asks him about Buffalo Bill. What do you think about him? Buffalo Bill is also a criminal who only kidnaps and kills women. The doctor asks him what he has to say about why Buffalo does this, but Clarice is unable to give a proper answer, and so does Dr. Lecter, unable to answer that. Clarice returns to her academy. Now the next day Clarice gets a call from her boss and he tells her that Lecter killed criminal who misbehaved with her. He has killed him by hypnosis. Clarice is shocked to hear that. Her boss tells her that this is Lecter, it's all an enjoyment for him, don't think too much about it, and asks her about the name the Lecter told her, and that name was Hester Moffat, and the doctor said listen carefully, you deep in yourself. It means listen to me and look at yourself deeply or carefully, but it's a code that Clarice understands. She tells her boss that the Lecter is from Volty Board. I have seen in the phone book that there is a store named Volty Board. After that she goes to the actual store and finds out that this place is closed for the last 10 years. This is a place like Godown, which is closed for a long time. The owner tells that this place was taken on lease. It had a contract of 10 years and all the payments were given in advance, and who her name was Hester Moffat. There is a shutter which Clarice tries hard to open, but it is jammed. The owner says that he will come with his son in the morning to try to open shutter, but Clarice now she wants to see, and she takes a jog out of her car, and with that she lifts the shutter up so she tries to get in. Before she leaves, she gives this guy a slip of paper with the names and phone numbers of the people in her office, and she tells him that if this shutter closes or anything happens, you will inform on this number. Those people will reach here immediately, and after that she goes inside. After going inside, she sees that there is a lot of stuff lying here, and there is also a car inside which there is a woman's mannequin, and that woman's mannequin has dressed very luxuriously. Along with this, there is also a bottle inside which has the severed head of a man, seeing which Clarice is shocked and leaves from there. After that she comes back to meet the doctor and asks Lecter that there whose faith it was. The doctor ignores her and says why don't you ask her about Buffalo Bill? Clarice tells her, why aren't you talking to me about Moffat, because you are the one who sent me to find him. Then the doctor tells him that Moffat's real name was Benjamin Recipe, and he was an old patient of his. He was a boy. Clarice asks him, did you kill him? Lecter says that I don't know whatever happened. It was for good, because he was not in a good state of mind, and my therapy was not helping him. Lecter tells to Clarice that I will help you in catching Buffalo Bill. I will help you if you shift me from this small room to some other place, because the doctor has been in this room for 8 years. And here Dr. Shilton harasses Dr. Lecter a lot, and now he wants to live in a government place from where he can see trees, plants, water, open sky. Lecter tells him that you don't have much time now because Buffalo Bill is currently looking for another victim. Then on other side a girl is driving a car, and as she approaches her house she sees a man sees the one who has fractured hand, and he is keeping sofa chair in his car, but he is not able to lift it completely, so the girl steps forward to help him and goes inside the car and pulls that sofa chair inside. Then that man attacks her and the girl faints. He is the only psycho killer whose name is Buffalo Bill, and he kidnaps that girl and drives away with his car and leaves from there. Clarice is given information about a murder and tells her that the dead body body of a girl has been found, which was in the water for 1 week, and it seems that he too was killed by Buffalo Bill. Clarice goes there with her team, and while on the way with her team she gets a call from her boss, and he tells her that Buffalo Bill keeps all the women alive for 3 days, and after 3 days he kills those women. Now Clarice reaches the place where the girl's dead body is there, and after reaching there she investigates the girl's dead body, and when her boss comes to the teeth of that body, Clarice notices something in the girl's neck, and when she removes it from her neck, it turns out to be a worm. Clarice takes the worm and goes to a lab so that he can get more information from that insect, and in the lab he comes to know that this is the first form of butterfly, which is very dangerous, and it does not happen here, but it is found in Asian countries, and here in this country someone is raising it. On the other hand, it is shown that Buffalo Bill has kept similar insects in his house, and there is also a girl there. This is the same girl whom Buffalo Bill has kidnapped on the pretext of keeping a sofa chair in the car, and he has imprisoned that girl in the well built inside his house. Now when Clarice comes to know about this news, she immediately goes to the Lecter, where Shelton stops her from going inside. But she tells him that a senior officer sent her here, and Clarice goes inside. After reaching inside, Clarice tells Lecter that if you help us with the Buffalo Bill case, you will be transferred to another prison. That will be much better than this one. Once in a week for you will be given a chance to go out. You can walk on the beach, take a bath in the sea, and roam under the open sky, and she also gives a map of that place, along with the case file. Then Lecter makes a deal with her, and he says, I will tell you everything about Buffalo Bill, but in return you have to tell me everything, and she agrees, although Clarice was already forbidden by her boss not to give any of her personal details to him. But a girl's life is at stake here, so she accepts. The Dr. Lecter asks her the worst of her childhood, asks about the memories, and Clarice tells him everything one by one. After that, Clarice says now it's your turn, and he asks her the girl who was murdered was tall and fat. She says yes. Lecter speaks as that, tell me more about the girl who was murdered. Clarice says something was forced into her mouth. Lecter asks it was a butterfly. Clarice says yes, it was a butterfly baby that didn't become a butterfly. The Lecter tells that is the worm will grow up to become a beautiful butterfly one day. Buffalo Bill is a boy, but he wants to change completely to become a girl. And there are 3 big hospitals here for this surgery, and he has decided to change his gender. Must have tried there, but he was rejected. The Lecter tells him he was not born a criminal over him. After the kind of oppression and torture, he became like this, and he now hates his identity, and that is why he now wants to change his gender, and his intentions are very dangerous. After this, Clarice leaves from there, and Dr. Lecter is in prison made and taken to Catherine's mom, and there is a deal between them that he will be sent to a good prison because he is in the same place for 8 years. The doctor tells him about Buffalo Bill, that his real name is Louis Friend. I met him only once in the year 1980. He was the lover of one of my patients, Benjamin. Benjamin is the same guy to Clarice sent to a godown to get information. Then the doctor tells his mom that his height is 5 feet 10 inches, 180 pounds, golden hair, and blue eyes. He would be 35 years old at this time. He was living in Philadelphia when he met him. After that, Catherine's mom leaves, and everyone here feels that they have solved this case, and now they will catch him, and the doctor is shifted to another prison. Now Clarice comes to meet Dr. Lecter because she finds out that the name that the doctor has told Louis Friend is an anagram, which means iron sulfide. That means a metal that appears to be gold, but is not gold, and the fools mistake it for gold, which means the Lecter has given them a wrong name. Clarice says everything you told earlier was correct. Tell me something else. The Lecter says I have read the case file. You have also read it. Everything you're looking for is in him. His nature, what he does, everything. Clarice says he kills girls. Lecter says it's a coincidence what he does to them first and why he does it. But Clarice has no answer to the Lecter and wants to answer from the Lecter. Instead of one answer, he gives one answer. He says that when your father was killed and you became an orphan and you went to your mom's cousin's house, what happened after that? In fact, Clarice would have told all these things to Lecter in the last meeting, because Lecter gives one answer instead of one. She tells that one morning she ran away from there. The Lecter asks why. She tells that one morning she heard the crying of the lambs, and when she ran away she saw people slaughtering the sheep there, and when she tried to save them, when the door was opened for the sheep, she was confused, she was upset, she was scared, and that's why she did not run away from there. And then to save the life of a lamb, she picked up the lamb and ran away with it, but the people there caught her and dragged the lamb out of it and killed him. The Lecter tells him that you still wake up sometimes in the dark, you hear the bleating of sheep, and you wonder if you could have saved Catherine's life, so you'll never hear those voices again, and you'll never cry again. Clarice says yes, and she wants to know more about that psycho killer from the Lecter, wants to know his address, but by then Dr. Selton comes there with some officers, and he starts taking Clarice from there, and when he takes Clarice from there, then Lecter shows her the file from behind, which is the file of Buffalo Bill's case, and she comes back to take her file, and Lecter also tries to tell her something in gestures, but she doesn't understand, and she takes her file and leaves. But the Lecter takes out a pin from this file, and when the guards come again with food for him, he uncuffs his handcuffs with the pin. And when the guards come inside to give him food, he kills those 2 guards. Now when the second security comes up, they see that their guards are dead there and one guard is badly injured, but there are no doctor there. Now they are taking the injured guard down from the lift, only then blood is falling from the ceiling of the lift, and he realizes that the Lecter is upstairs. He sends his injured partner in an ambulance and looks at the top of the lift where the Lecter is lying unconscious, and they also shoot at him, but there is no movement. Then they open the lift from inside and they see that it is not Dr. Lecter but one of his guard, and on the other hand the injured guard is being carried by the ambulance. Yes, he is a Dr. Lecter. In fact, he has wear a guard's uniform and has put a layer of flesh on his face so that no one can recognize him. Now he kills everyone in the ambulance and runs away. On the other hand, Clarice is again looking at Buffalo Bill's file because the doctor told her what she needed is in Buffalo Bill's file, and then she sees that Dr. Lecter has marked all the places and timings where all the dead bodies were found, and it shows that the girl named Fandrica was kidnapped by him first. Her body was found on the 3rd number, and he buried her body, and that too far away from her hometown. And now she understands that Buffalo Bill knew his first victim personally. Now she goes to his house to find out information about that first victim, and after searching her room, she learns that the girl was a tailor, and the pattern she used in Buffalo Bill removes the skin from the body of the girls. She understands that Buffalo Bill is a tailor who is making a dress for himself from the skin of the girls, which is also true. Buffalo Bill is making a dress for himself by taking the skin off the girls' bodies, which is now almost complete, and Clarice tells all these things to her boss on the phone, and her boss tells her that you take care of yourself, and Buffalo Bill, known as Louis Friend, has set out to capture him, and will be there shortly. This address they get according to the information of the Lecter, which is wrong, and they do not find anyone there. Clarice go to Fendrica's friend to find out some information about Buffalo Bill, and she comes to know Fendrica knows a Lipman, for whom the two often made clothes, and she gives an address to Clarice. Clarice goes to that address. A man from inside opens the door and she asks him about the Lipman, but he tells his name is Jack and says, "I bought this house 2 years back." Clarice tells that Fendrica used to work for Lipman. Do you know him? This makes him a little nervous and he says no, but I have the number of Lipman's son. And when Clarice goes inside, there are lots of sewing threads, and then Clarice sees the same worm flying that was found inside the dead body's mouth, and Clarice understands that his name is not Jack. He is a psycho killer who removes the skin of girls and kills them, and Clarice takes him at gunpoint, but the man escapes from there and looking for him. Clarice reaches the place where Katrin is imprisoned in a well, and she is screaming, "Save me." Clarice tells her that she will save him, but this time he should keep quiet. But that girl cries. She tells him, "Don't leave me," because she is very scared. Now Clarice reaches a room looking for him, and as soon as they reach that room, the psycho killer turns off the light of that room and it becomes completely dark there. Clarice can't see anything around there. Although Clarice is afraid of the dark, but she doesn't lose her courage. She shows courage and keeps her gun loaded so that she will kill him as soon as she gets a chance. Buffalo Bill is already hiding in that room and he's wearing night vision glasses so he can see everything, but Clarice is completely unaware of this, and as soon as Clarice makes her target and loads her gun, Clarice fires several bullets towards the sound of the gun, and all of those bullets hit Buffalo Bill, and that's how this psycho killer is finished. After this, the entire FBI team reaches there and she takes out the other girl, Katrin, from there safely. Clarice is honored by the government for solving this case, and a party is also held. And at that party, Clarice gets a phone call that's from Dr. Lecter, and he tells him that now he can't hear the screams of the lamb. Doctor tells him not to try to trace me. I will disconnect the phone before that. Clarice wants to talk to him, but Dr. Lecter tells her to take care of herself, and he is busy right now because he have a dinner with an old friend. And after saying this, the Lecter cuts the phone. Now in front of Lecter is Shelton, who is preparing to go somewhere, along with his security, and when Shelton's going ahead with his security, Dr. Lecter starts following him. Dr. Lecter does not like Shelton, because in prison the doctor used to torture Shelton very much, and it is obvious that Dr. Lecter will not leave him alive because he is a mastermind as well as a psycho killer himself. With this, the movie ends here.